So good afternoon, everyone. As I said in my 1-minute introduction, I'm Sean from PENSA Psychology, an occupational psychologist, and I'm extremely passionate about what I do. And I just wanted to share a few insights into what occupational psychology is today, and tell you a few things that I'm getting up to currently. So my purpose, then, I think it's always important to understand why we do certain things. So personally, I've got a pretty big family, lots of grandchildren running around, lots of dogs, and all that sort of thing. And I'm massively into family, so that does take up a lot of my time. And you'll also note at the far end there, we've got a nice Fender American Pro 2 jazz bass that is mine. I'm passionate about that. I was going to put it at the front there, but I thought better not do that because it might be controversial. And also, I'm an active concert goer as well. I'm not sure if it's a midlife crisis or not, but I'm revisiting the 80s, well, probably the 70s, quite a lot just lately. So I'm very into the music and that sort of thing. Now, professionally, I would say that, I really like helping people. And supporting people in the working environment. That's why I became a psychologist. And I know it sounds a little bit corny to some people when they say, oh, I absolutely love my job, I'm passionate about it. The client is the most important. The fact that I earn money is a necessity for a lot of us. We do need to do that. But ultimately, it is the satisfaction of that client and helping someone when they're struggling. That's the most important thing to me. And it's what keeps me going. So occupational psychology, then, it's a postgraduate career. So you have to have a bachelor's in psychology that is accredited to the British Psychological Society. You have to have a master's in occupational psychology. And to be chartered, you also have to do the chartered qualification, which is the doctoral level qualification. So quite a hefty study period. And it took me about 10 years or so to get to that point because I did some of it part-time. But it's well worth it in the end. And that's why you have the seal of approval, because I'm also Healthcare Professions Council registered and also an associate member of the British Psychological Society as well. Sorry, an associate fellow of the British Psychological Society. So this is basically what I do then. So I'll help to improve organisational performance. And that can be looking at systemic problems or issues that might be occurring. It can look at the structure of the organisation and how people are interacting with that and whether it's effective or not. Ultimately, that can help to increase job satisfaction of people. So if we can take away the irritation and the frictions that are caused, then it helps to increase that satisfaction so that they're more able to apply themselves into the job. I also do quite a lot in increasing wellness of staff as well. So that could be looking at work time regulations and hours that they're actually doing, how long they have to focus on a particular job. So I will look into whether they've got enough rest time or anything dependent on the demands of the job or anything that they've got there. I do some career coaching as well. So that can help people to go for promotion or ultimately, make decisions if they want to do something else, is to look into what the skill sets are. So I use various psychometrics to do the assessment if required and if the client wants to do that, because it gives them something a little bit more tangible. But it's only the start point of a conversation. So we can look into that as well. And also something that I've done quite a lot of, certainly with the NHS and through COVID, is overcoming challenges with some of the senior leaders who were in quite difficult positions with decisions. I gave a lot of support and pro bono at the time as well, because it was a challenging time for everyone. So engaged with the NHS and supported quite a lot of their senior leaders and directors through the pandemic. I can also help people develop new skills as well. So if they want to upskill, or an organisation wants to upskill a group of people, whether that's leaders, managers, or the employees, then I can help to develop new skills. Again, that's based on psychological theory, because I'm always looking at the transfer of learning, how we measure that, and whether we're using the optimum learning styles for the individuals that are in the room. So current projects that I've got on at the moment, I'm doing quite a lot of upskilling, and I'll pop these ones up here. So these seem to be the workshops that I'm doing at the moment. So I've been running emotional intelligence workshops, which helps leaders and managers have more self-awareness so that they can apply themselves better, engage better with the client, with their employees, with members of the team. Managing mental health, that's always prominent in the working environment. And what I've actually found is that a lot of managers or leaders and managers don't always want to take the responsibility to manage that, or they're reluctant to step forwards because there is a fine line. And certainly, if somebody is behaving inappropriately, we understand about mental health. It doesn't give the right to that individual to carry out those behaviors. It doesn't justify that. So it can be quite difficult, and I totally understand that. But that just helps managers have a little bit more confidence in what they can do and what they can have in their toolbox to deal with those sort of situations. And that sort of brings me on to the next one. So having difficult conversations, and something else that I find in an organization is that quite a lot of managers and leaders don't really know how to have the conversation. And doing that in a way that also engages with empathy, with understanding, but getting the desired result as well to actually go forwards, which is in accordance with the purpose of the organization and the individuals. So I do quite a bit of that, giving people some templates that they can actually use to develop conversations. I also do quite a bit of team development and inclusive leadership as well. So drawing people in, the leaders, so that they can be more inclusive and they can have a wider skill set in their leadership. The training development of newly qualified psychologists. As psychologists, we have a responsibility to develop our own profession, and I've been doing quite a lot of training for new psychologists in carrying out diagnostic assessments for neurodiverse conditions. So that's dyslexia, dyscalculia, dyspraxia, and also screens for ADHD and autism. I particularly enjoy that because they're, absolutely bright as buttons. They've got lots of energy, and it's really nice to actually engage with the younger cohort, or some of them in the younger cohort, and give something back in that way. And I always tell them that they've got to be at least better than me, because then they've got to the bottom rung of the ladder. So hopefully they'll go on further in their career. So that's a very rewarding part of the job. The other things that I do with one-to-one delivery is I do diagnostic assessments for neurodiverse conditions myself. So I carry out the diagnostics, and that includes the pre-assessment, the actual diagnostic, which takes about 4 to 5 hours to go through that, formulate the report, and then also offer the support that goes after that. It could be recommendations for workplace changes and adaptations that they could have, and also to remind the employers that they are under the Equality Act of 2010, so they're obliged to make those reasonable adjustments for individuals. And also linked to that, I do make recommendations for interviews or anything else that might disadvantage the individual following the diagnosis. I also do coaching, and not just executive coaching, but also for improvement, for wellness, or whatever the client is suffering with, or the challenges that they're experiencing. I find that very, very rewarding. I particularly like the online side of things, because my furthest client at the moment, he's just got himself a job, sometimes working in Iceland. So the last meeting that I had with him, he said, "Do you want to know where I am, or would you like to have a look on the camera?" And he presented a really, really nice scene. And I said, "Oh, that's lovely. Where is it?" And he said, "It's Iceland." I thought, "That's absolutely fantastic. This is technology. I love it." So I'll just move on then. I just wanted to give you a couple of testimonials of what clients are saying about me. So this is from a chap who came to me. He was actually referred to me from a psychotherapist who's a colleague of mine, because he was going through a pretty tough time, but it was established that it wasn't depression, it wasn't anxiety. So there was no mental illness that was identified. But there was a lot of distress, and there was a requirement to actually look at some coaching there going forward. So I engaged with him and took him through the process, and we had quite a few sessions. And strangely enough, this person's actually got in touch. He's booked another session. And the message that came through was, it wasn't anything bad. He said, look, I've booked some more sessions. He says, nothing's bad. Everything's going absolutely fantastic. He's been placed in a really good position in a company. He's got a great job now. But he said, I want to come back. I want to feed back to you. I want to run a few things by you. And I also want to pay you back at some point for the huge discount that you gave me at the time, because he came along, he was in between jobs. He had a young family, which we described as young, slightly younger and extremely young, his 3 children. And I said to him, well, look, let's get on with the coaching, and we can talk about money once we've got you up and running, you sorted out. So, you know, and that can either go one way or the other. People can either scarper or they can come back. But that's what he wrote about me. And he's booked more sessions. He actually wants to come back for that. So that was a coaching client. These 2 are from assessments that I carried out. So these were diagnostic assessments for dyslexia was the top one, and then the one underneath that was it was actually a specific learning difficulty based on working memory. I think I diagnosed for that one in the end. But as you can see, quite pleasant words. It was very nice to read those without poking the client and saying, can you send me a testimonial? This is what came through via email. So it was a case of saying, can I use this? Are you happy for me to put this into a presentation and use that? At which they said, absolutely fantastic. And then the final one, this is something that I received for team development that I was doing. So engaging with some training programs, looking at leaders and managers, how they can draw their teams together. And that's what I received from there. So a little bit of a whistle top. I haven't been looking at my watch, but I think I'm either close to 10 minutes or maybe closer to 20. Has anybody got any questions for me?